look at human civilization and what are the basics? What do we all need? Food, water, energy is the lifeblood that powers our world. And we need to show tremendous respect to the people that have gotten us here, the farmers, the organic farmers, the four-season farmers that have put food on our table for centuries. But we're at a tipping point. And if this world simply focuses on carbon and carbon reduction, by the time we solve our energy problems, and by the time we solve, because we will solve the energy problem, human innovation, capital at scale, governments, it's bleak right now, but it's moving, and we'll solve the energy problem. But where will we be once we solve it? Right now in the U.S., the Colorado River is drying up. The southwest of the U.S. is drying up. California is plagued with wildfires. We grow very little food in the U.S. still. So we have row crops, wheat, corn, soy, but the fruit and vegetable production has been shifted out of the country and imported back in. What is grown in the U.S. is grown in California. I grew up in Kentucky. Kentucky and West Virginia are known as coal states, coal-producing states. Extractive industries. All I hear from the environmental community is extractive industries, fossil fuels, extractive industries. We're extracting water out of the ground and we're not replenishing it. We're extracting nutrients out of the ground and we're not replenishing it. The environmental community and sustainable community must broaden the conversation far beyond just energy. Because if we don't, we're going to be left with a world where the soil won't have nutrients. We won't have water in our fresh reservoirs. It's not just fossil fuels that we're extracting. We're extracting the nutrients. We're extracting the water. COVID has highlighted this. Our company at AppHarvest, for any entrepreneur online listening, maybe some people back in Kentucky at 4 a.m., our world needs you. And I hope my story, in some small way, inspires you. I started AppHarvest, and in 2018, had my credit cards maxed and took $250,000 of seed funding. This year, we went public on the NASDAQ and raised $500 million. To any tech entrepreneur, to any innovator, anyone who has a job in government or anyone who has a job in a large corporate organization, we desperately need you. COVID has highlighted a lot of cracks in our system, but one thing that was highlighted is our fragile food system. Earlier this year, I was in D.C. I met with several high-ranking officials that have been a part of running some of U.S. military operations globally. One common thread in history: what destabilizes governments? What destabilizes economies? No food, no water. To the entrepreneurs, the innovators, the thinkers, the doers, we need you. This slide here, I was thinking on I wasn't well traveled growing up. I've just recently come to Europe for the first time, and first time in Spain. Thank you all for being so kind. We're in this together. And there's a lot of tech billionaires that are looking to leave the planet. I don't know about you, but I'm staying here on this planet. We're all stuck here together. Our kids, our grandkids. What world are we going to leave them? It's terrifying. And when people ask me what motivates me, self-preservation for myself, my family, my friends, and the people coming over my shoulder to know that we're giving them a world a little bit better than what we had. The tech community must be a part of the solution. Private sector must lead. I was one of those people that was pretty negative about Wall Street much of my life. AppHarvest is the first stock I've ever owned. But the reality is, protests in the streets won't solve problems. Standing with a picket sign won't solve a problem. And to our generation, it's time to do the hard work. Take a job in government, run for Congress, be an executive at a company, start a nonprofit, build a company, raise capital, do the work. We're stuck here together. The good thing is, we have technologies and human innovation. We set our mind to something, we can do it. Yes, I know the tech billionaires will go to Mars, but for God's sakes, why are we on planet Earth? It's the only planet in the known universe with abundant fresh water. We can't go outside of the solar system. We can't go outside of the Milky Way galaxy and find another hidden gem. We're on the hidden gem. Look around, it's nature. And so for us at AppHarvest, we tried to build a business putting nature first. We're not perfect, we have a long way to go, but we're standing on the shoulders of many humans that have created technologies before us, and we hope to build upon that. We're able to grow our fruits and vegetables with 90% less water than open field agriculture. Why is that important? The UN has predicted that we need 50 to 70% more food by 2050. We will need to grow more food in the next 30 years than in the last 10,000 years of human existence. We currently use 70% of fresh water globally for agriculture production. Do the math. It would take 2 planet Earths to have enough water to feed people the way we currently grow today by 2050. I look at my phone, sometimes I forget, what year is it? It's 2021. The urgency is not there. It's all talk. Governments talk, companies talk. We talk at these conferences. It's time for action. With our facility, we use, again, I guess it's a radical idea to grow a fruit and vegetable with rainwater, but we grow with 100% rainwater, use 90% less water than open field agriculture, so we can free up tremendous amounts of acreage where we're not using water. We use sunlight through the glass. People look at it and they go, oh, this is a greenhouse. Think of a sports car in 1930 or a 2021 Bugatti or a 2021 Tesla. What's the similarity between that 2021 Tesla and your 1930 sports car? They have 4 wheels and a steering wheel. That's the same thing we've done here. Yes, it's a glass structure. We take the sunlight in, but the facility itself is living. With that, flip to this slide, AI and robotics. So we have robotics inside the facility, picking, pruning, harvesting, analyzing the plant to understand, do we have a pest, do we have a disease? But we're putting nature first. So growing with sunlight, using rainwater, only adding LED light to get the micromole light to the plant. Again, for us, the conversation has to shift. And I love my friends and the innovators and technology companies that I've admired growing up. But an iPhone is not technology. This is very rudimentary. Real technology is nature. For God's sakes, we need to open our eyes. We have no clue. Microbes are still the unknown. We have no idea about the microbes in the soil that we're killing. Look up Paul Stamets. Read some of his work. We think technology is an iPhone, yet we're finding out trees can communicate with each other, and they can communicate with other plants through the microbes in the soil, and we're killing those microbes with chemical pesticides that we're layering all across planet Earth. Our answers are inside of this place that we live on, and it is our job as innovators not to think that our ego is that we are going to solve the problem alone with technology. We've had to harness nature, use technology, support from behind. And part of that is having a people-first business. We have to put people and planet at the priority in the center of our organizations. Any company we start, what are you trying to solve for? Why are you solving it? And then who are you solving it with? And for us, instilling these values into our workforce, I've heard all around the world, people don't want to work in the middle of COVID. We've had challenges back home in Kentucky, but we had 8,000 people apply to work at AppHarvest in the middle of COVID. We hired 500 people in the middle of COVID. We're paying a living wage, and in the US it's rare, but we offer full health care to all of our employees, and everyone has ownership in the company. Getting them to be mission-driven advocates, fighting for your company, how valuable is that? When an investor asks me, well, how much does it cost you to pay a living wage? F off. How much does it cost me to have an employee that's going to fight for our company? So yes, we're a B Corp certified company. I think when we went public earlier this year, we were one of 5 companies that were both a public benefit corporation and a B Corp. And to any CEO that's running a publicly traded company, your shareholders, your investors, your board should look to replace those CEOs that are not aggressively moving to be B Corp certified and public benefit corporations. We must have the Fortune 500 companies lead. We must have venture capitalists invest money into technologies solving our fundamental problems in society. We must have governments lead with policy, and we cannot take anything short of decisive conviction and action. That is the only solution. So again, we have a long way to go here at AppHarvest. I hope to be CEO for 30 years. I'm in my third-ish year. And to me, what is the most important thing of all this? If we're at any company, if you're an investor, who's coming up behind us? And so for us at AppHarvest, we've invested heavily into high school education. We worked with our governor. We've been at 5 high schools now where we're putting technology into schools where young people can learn how to grow fruits and vegetables with an iPhone, an iPad, LED lights, software and sensors to grow a fruit and vegetable with 90% less water, get 30 times yield per acre, get the harsh chemical pesticides out. But more importantly, what are we doing? We're letting our young people dream. These people in this photo, they're going to solve our problems because we are not going to do it alone. And we must, as companies, invest in our future. To anyone looking to operate in the US or around the world for that matter, we've had a lot of political access in the US. Meetings at the White House with cabinet secretaries, governors, heads of state. People have gone, how did you do it? You know, these companies spend millions of dollars a year on political access. Do the right thing. Invest in your communities. Invest in education. Be an authentic, true, genuine company that cares, and you'll find the help. We did it at AppHarvest, and I'm sure in South Summit, there's going to be several other stories much like AppHarvest. There's somebody watching online that questions whether or not they should take the leap, start the company, build a solution, do it. What are the other options? We say fight the food fight. Martha Stewart joined our board about a year ago. Love Martha. She's a bulldog. Wakes up at 6 a.m., working until 10 p.m. I'm like, Martha, just had her 80th birthday this year. We say fight the food fight. We'll be selling products later this year, direct to consumer, salsas and other value-added products. We all eat. Share a meal with somebody. Talk about where your food comes from. Talk about what you're going to do to ensure that food for the future is better. We can be a part of this conversation. It can be inclusive. It can be equitable. It can be everything we want it to be, but it will only be that if we lead. It's exhausting to come to these conferences. It's exhausting to keep fighting this fight. But if we do it together, we'll solve these problems. Thank you, Spain. Thank you, South Summit. And thank you to the organizers. Much appreciate you. And I look forward to meeting the entrepreneurs that come out of here and create the next great companies. Thank you.